Roman, welcome to New York City.
Hi, Sam. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's dive right in. I think most people know who you are at this point in the AI community, but why don't you give a quick introduction to yourself and to Nebius?
Okay, happy to do that. I'm Roman. I was in the founding team of Nebius. Prior Nebius, I spent more than 10 years in Yandex. Was head of search and then head of maps and navigation there. And in Nebius, most of my work is focused on go-to-market. So I was responsible to kick off our sales and marketing when we started. Now finally we have a real CRO, someone who knows how to do it on scale. And I shifted back a little bit to the product, and I'm working with a lot of the people in the company to make sure that we develop our software stack beyond infrastructure as a service. And we probably will speak why it's important for us. And talking about Nebius in general, I think, again, a lot of people know that we have the heritage in Yandex. So the team actually who built it worked together for a long time in Yandex, and we led by founder and CEO of Yandex, Arkady Volosh. And we've got the bunch of very strong engineers on different parts of the stack, which is, I think, the real luck for this market. So we have people who actually built and operated all Yandex infrastructure on scale, so built all the data centers, built hardware. We have the team that worked on the cloud, software platform, and we also have a lot of expertise in AI itself, because Yandex was obviously AI company before it called AI company. And what we do now is actually building AI cloud. So we build the platform, we build the infrastructure to enable all the people who actually build AI-centric workloads, AI-centric applications, all the way from small startups to the large enterprises and labs and hyperscalers now.
Yep. Yeah, I think what's interesting about Nebius that I've read and followed the journey is you work with research labs, startups, institutions, and now a lot more enterprise adoption. And I've seen different customers like Cloudflare, et cetera. And on that note, this Microsoft partnership, speaking more about that, I believe it was the largest vendor deal ever in Microsoft history. I think the contract values are $17.4 billion to start, and it can go up to $19.4 billion based on capacity. Walk us through, how do you land such a massive deal, largest in Microsoft history?
Do you know? It's for sure it was the largest vendor deal. I never checked it, so it's obvious was the largest for us, but I'm not sure that for Microsoft as well. But
that's what the research said.
Okay,
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe
no,
so.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It was funny enough that after we signed this deal, maybe the next day, we felt like the kings of the hill.
Yeah.
And then the next day, OpenAI signed with Oracle for $300 billion, and we felt like Oracle came in and said hold my beer, guys. No, it was quite a milestone, obviously, for us. And I think that for us, it's important as a justification of our maturity. So you can imagine that the customers like Microsoft, when they sign the deal, they go all the way through details and enterprise readiness of their provider. It's obviously very important from business perspective. So it helped us to scale revenue. It helped us to actually raise additional capital. And what I think is undervalued in the community about this deal is we internally think about it as more like the fuel to feed our core business. And our core business, as we call it, is to build AI cloud, multi-tenant cloud with with all the software services to serve diversity of the customers. You can imagine that Microsoft mostly need raw infrastructure, all compute, these customers. But our real motivation and vision is we build much more than just large bare metal clusters. And the deals like Microsoft are letting us to reinvest a lot in the development of the product and scaling the capacity for all the rest of the market. So I think it's really difficult to understate for the company like us how important to scale fast. Our competition with the companies with the largest balance sheets in the world. So we just need to build a lot. And yeah, the Microsoft deal put us on the next level of what we can afford to build for the rest of the customers. And that's the most important for us. We even told to internally to the team that you can think about it as a like weird way to fundraise. So it gives you the capital. This is the most important. It gives you the capital to build.
Yeah. I mean, I want to dive in on some of this, and a lot of what you're saying I agree with. I think the GPU cloud space to a large extent is a financial engineering game where whoever can take in the most financing, early days it's equity and debt. As you go public, it's a lot of public equity fundraising and still private market debt fundraising. But to your point, and I think that's what makes Nebius really special, is the software stack, Kubernetes, multi-tenancy, latency, security, getting all of that right so that your end user doesn't have to spend a lot of time making the GPUs work for their use case. So with the Microsoft deal, what things internally are the biggest challenges to deliver that? And then that can be a nicely lay into what are you building that's extremely unique against this fiercely competitive software layer on top of the hardware today.
Yeah. With the Microsoft deal, the main characteristic of this partnership is the scale.
Scale, right?
So I think that it will be one of the largest in one place deployment of
in Virginia, right?
In New Jersey.
New Jersey, that's right.
It will be one of the largest for now, like for the next. Our delivery schedule there is next 9 months, I think, 9-10 months. And I think that for time being, it will be one of the largest in one place deployment of GB300s, the newest chips that going there. So I think it's a lot of engineering work on scale. You can imagine that they expect quite a high level of SLA and operational efficiency. I think we're quite confident we can deliver on that just because we saw the scale like that back in our days in Yandex, and the team that builds it, it's not something they don't know how to deal with. And it's like execution, first of all. Then I think what is interesting about what we call the core business, like software-driven business, it's also all about scaling fast, deploy fast, grow, but it also the product.
Yes.
And I think that in general, the industry and us as a part of industry kind of figured out what is the infrastructure as a service looks like for the AI world. But it's still to be defined what is the like if you think about cloud classical layers, you have IaaS, you have PaaS. So what is the PaaS layer for the AI specialized development? What is the developer platform? What is the efficient developer platform should look like? How it should change together with the change of all the software development that we observe now with all the agentic development. So we've got like all the things together in one time that we need to figure out. We never saw such a scale. Then the type of the applications we see are changing. So these AI-centric agentic vertical solutions are different from what we saw before, less determined and so on. And then the third, we see that developer is changing. We can probably assume that in 2 years from now, if not faster, a lot of interactions with the infrastructure won't be from humans, but will be from robots, from agents, right? So what would it be the right developer platform to deploy and deploy and change the applications when the type of the kind of counteragent is changing, right?
Right.
So this is something that's really fascinating. I think this is something that's still not defined and figured out. I think this is something that all the classical hyperscalers are not doing great as well yet. And this is where we want to be.
Yep.
We want to grow with our customers. We want to grow with the AI native developers. We want to grow with the software vendors like Shopify, Cloudflare. We want to go deeper to enterprises and see how we can help them to build these AI native developer platforms and PaaS layer of the cloud.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my core thesis at Banyan is AI native technology will be the dominant force of our lifetime, and 50% of my focus is on AI native infrastructure. So diving into those specifics, it's also my view that especially in this now the scale that you're at, it's like check, you can handle scale, check, you can handle all the security and enterprise requirements. You're deploying one of the largest GPU clusters ever. I know you're the most premium vendor with Nvidia as well, and you've been awarded that, and we can talk about that later. But what are the things your team's ideating on from a product innovation point of view that would deliver that 5x, 10x value increase on the software layer on top of the GPUs compared to the hyperscalers or the CoreWeaves or Lambda Labs? What are those core things that your team wants to ship? And maybe even with Microsoft or longer term than that, we'd love to learn about those specifics.
Yeah, it's a great question. And a lot of answers to be defined in the future. As
you have a fun job.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey. I think that what we're focusing on is few aspects. Like, first of all, this AI infrastructure is extremely expensive. And the first thing that you always need to think about how you extract all the percents of efficiency from investments from your customers, right? So like if someone secured the cluster and pays whatever, tens millions of dollars or hundreds millions of dollars or hundred thousands of dollars, but it's a really small company, this is quite significant investments.
Yep.
And in any infrastructure, efficiency is important. But here it's just the question of surviveness. So the first thing that we always focus on is, do we provide the best performance, the best return of investments, the best TCO for our customers that invest in the infrastructure? And there are like a lot of work on infrastructure layer, starting from how you construct the data centers and all the way up to the software. So the second thing is, I think developer experience is something super important. We already saw it in the AI native kind of world, when a lot of new startups, a lot of new companies are started by researchers. And A, these are small teams. B, they are quite expensive people. Like you start the new company with the top-notch people that you acquired from, I don't know, DeepMinds and
Mark Zuckerberg made them a lot more expensive
and so on.
Yeah, $100 million.
And then
offers.
A lot of them actually came from the world when from the large ecosystems, when they were surrounded by a lot of people whose work was to make sure they got all the infrastructure in place, all the tools in place, and then they come to the, West world, wild West world when, okay, how we deal with, like, here is your cluster, like, run your job. Like, what? I never did it. So I think the developer experience in this sense is really important. How much time they need to spend to actually kind of convert their ideas, their experiments into production. How many people they need to find to deal with infrastructure. Then you can think about it. Okay, like we are in the world of shortage of supply. A lot of people are multi-clouding because of that. Every cloud requires different tweaks, and so it really becomes a challenge to support all this infrastructure, again, with small team, with the core team members who probably didn't get used to that, like to really deal with the raw infrastructure, and 3, with the time that's so much expensive. And not only because we pay them a lot, but because the competition is harsh.
Yeah.
Like every month, every week, we see the race. And if you don't deliver, like if you lose your time, you don't deliver your new version of the product, new version of the model, you just suffer.
Yep.
So I think these two parameters, efficiency, make sure that every GPU is utilized, make sure that all the systems in general works perfectly. And then the second is developer experience, like time to value, TCO. This is something really important.
Okay. So is your team doing a lot of forward deployed engineering to provide DevOps support so the researchers can focus on research? So you're not only getting the networking, right, the GPU configuration, everything they need, but then abstracting away any specific DevOps work for that team?
Yeah, I think that, again, like the players like us are moving evolutionally.
Yep.
Also, so first thing we do is we make sure they got the best support. We have all this
white
glove support.
Right.
Like we sit in the Slack channels with all of them. We have dedicated solution architects, like follow the sun coverage, like make sure that if they work at night, we will follow them at night. So these all service things. But then what we really want to do is the platform that supports them. People don't like to talk with the people. They want things just to work. And a lot of questions we try to answer is how the platform, how the software platform should work, that people don't need to ask us. How API should be designed to help them integrate properly. How user experience looks like. And what is important, I think you should build it like in design. You should build it in design. A lot of players in this new cloud world came from with the mentality of we deploy clusters.
Right.
But when you deploy the clusters, it may work for the large customers that just need raw compute, but it will not work for developer first kind of approach. The time, the configuration, everything requires a different approach. So we initially built it as a hyperscaler cloud. Okay. So we have fully virtualized system. We have all the resources are provisioned automatically. We have API first development, so everything we have in the platform available for developer through API. They don't want to deal with with the user interface and so on and so forth. And it pays back now. We see that our time to deliver the value is shorter than many of our competitors.
Right.
We see that we are much more built for partners to integrate with us. I mean, like value-added software developers. We've got like a lot of integrations and partnerships with the other software developers, because again, they need APIs. They don't want to
right.
deal with the raw infrastructure. And we see that the satisfaction of the customers is quite high. So when they start work with us, then they prefer to stay and build more and more and more. And then the other thing that we need to speak about, and I think it's maybe the most important, is how the use case is evolving. This market started from developing the foundational technologies, like in particular models. We started from like model builders, mostly training jobs, mostly large distributed training jobs. Then I think from maybe late 2024, maybe a little bit earlier, we started to see a lot of demand coming from companies who build vertical AI. Long time ago, I think they were called like GPT wrappers with a little bit of disrespect. But in reality, now we see that those GPT wrappers become the new champions of this market. Like you can think about Cursor, you can think about other people who actually not starting from the foundational model development. They start from the product. They find the use case that works. And it happens because the foundational technology is now good enough to unlock so many value in the scenarios, right?
Right.
And then they go down the stack. They may start from the closed source models like Claude or ChatGPT, and then they go at some stage of their growth, like not on the early stage when they just need to find the product market fit and prove that use case is working. But then when they start scaling, they actually have the kind of very strong reason to go and see what they can build kind of a part of these closed source models, because they need to meet their unit economics on the growth stage, and they need to create some technological moat around their product. And this is the stage when they go and mostly use like open source models. Like we have a very strong capabilities on the market of the open weight models. And sometimes they even go down the stack and start training some specialized models or so on. But at this stage, they already start seeing the use case. They have the data of their customer. They can observe like what is needed, and they have the most important. They have the use case that they need to build like reasonable economics around. So this is the second wave of the customers that we now see. And their requirements are different from foundational model builders. They come to us for the inference platform, first of all, because they are not that savvy in training. They don't run like huge jobs on training, but they have a comprehensive inference scenarios with the high requirements with the reliability, because there are real customers behind them, with the high requirements to efficiency, because there is economics behind that, and with the high requirements to the robustness of the developer platform, because they iterate, they move fast, they need to test all the models, they need to fine tune them, they need to apply the data, they need to tweak it's normal product development, right? So it's like the iterations, how fast you can iterate defines your success, right? So this is the second wave of the consumption. And for them, we're mostly focusing on building inference platform, fine-tuning platform, data platform to deal with what they got, like, and build this flywheel of improve the platform that helps them to build the flywheel of product improvements. And it's like, it's not infrastructure at all already.
Yeah.
And then the third category of the customers that we start seeing are enterprises. They are not AI native. And they now start seeing that some of the use cases are working. And thanks to the previous category of the AI native vertical AI companies who just show what works. And those first of all, probably ISVs, like software vendors, like more technical savvy. They start apply it for their use cases in the enterprise. You want to build better search for your customers. You want to build whatever, sales and support. You want to build
just your common voice agents.
Voice
support,
engines, like
coding assistant.
Yeah, and then each of
knowledge
them also have their core use cases.
Right, for their core business.
Well, for their core business.
Right.
Would it be I don't know, seller experience for the e-commerce, or would it be drugs discovery for the health tech company? Some of their unique core use cases where, again, they can leverage their data, they can leverage the understanding of the use case better than anyone else on the market. And they, in a lot of cases, not limited with the closed ecosystems, like just I will use out-of-the-shelf model. They want to build. So this is the third wave of the customers. And again, you can imagine that they don't need just infrastructure. They need something else. They need, of course, they come with all those kind of enterprise requirements: security, compliance, access controls, how you integrate with their data, how you make sure that the data is not exposed, and so on and so forth. But then their developer experience is also not far beyond just using the infrastructure. Yes, they can have the training scenarios as well when they go down to the Slurm or Kubernetes clusters, but they are like probably more similar to these product companies, but with some of their own requirements. They could have some hybrid hybrid infrastructure settings when they want to offload something in the cloud but still utilize something they have on-prem. They could they could have a different like collaboration teams experience, and they need like the platform that helps a lot of teams collaborate across the day, like around the data and across the different scenarios, and like all the normal like software development kind of requirements that come when you deal with the large teams. So I think for us, again, when we think about the roadmap, the product roadmap that we need to execute, we need to follow these waves of the consumption.
Yeah.
And we believe that like the ultimate goal is to be cloud, AI native cloud in our DNA, like coming from the ground up, from understanding of each layer of this AI infrastructure and serving those enterprises at the end of the day. Because we are the big believers that at the end of the day, a lot of consumption will come from there.
Right.
And we're still in such early days. We still see like first percents of the companies apply AI on scale to the first percents of their use cases.
Right.
So it will grow like, I don't know, tens, hundreds times. And the winners of the product, the AI native product development, they will also become the enterprises. Because again, their customers will be the enterprises.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so many great things. I really appreciate you taking that approach to explain it on that deep of a level. And I also agree with you on that last point around the AI native scale-ups of today are going to be the public companies. The top 7 companies in the S&P 500 will be displaced or look different, I would say, in the next 3 years. You're going to have OpenAI, maybe kick one of the top 7 out, for example. And so I think what I'm hearing you say, and I know there's a lot of different angles you applied on this, but you're looking at the actual workflow of that user, whether it's a research lab becoming a scale-up or if it's a more traditional software company that's now applying where they've seen these other successful AI native companies now applying AI to their business, and now they have collaboration needs, they have a hybrid cloud environment needs, or you're looking at like the AI native developer companies, and their needs are mostly around, hey, we need APIs for everything. We want to use these 12 services. We don't want to hack away on it. We wanted to just get our abstraction layers out of the way and get to market as fast as we can, and we want to keep iterating. And so what I'm hearing you say about Nebius is you look at this as a product and a design experience and try to abstract away any complexity and layer that into the product, and then excellent support. And there's these like different categories that customers.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Like you wrapped it very, very accurately. So yeah, we think that the future of us, there are a lot of like scenarios of the future. Nobody knows what will happen. There is no future when we are not scaled enough and be successful. It's like in infrastructure business, it's all about scale. But I think that our real success will come if we'll unlock this developer like experience thing. If people will prefer to build with us
versus any other cloud on the market,
even if they can get GPUs from somewhere else.
If for cheaper, but they'd still rather pay more to use Nebius because there's such a better developer experience, and you're equipped with the tools, like you said, from data engineering down to if you are doing any training, you have your suite of tools there, your cloud environment, your collaboration.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a big game, and
it's a lot.
And like not all answers are clear.
No.
We know some pieces that we need to implement. We see that there is a lot of value again to go down the stack, like integrate this across all the layers. So if you think about, like, for example, inference on scale, you can, in the long term, you can win a lot when you, for example, build the like physical infrastructure, like clusters and hardware with the understanding in mind how the like scaled inference scenario.
What do you do differently there? Is it more memory that you place for
you can actually run the different stages of the inference on different chips, for example. So you can do this is one thing. Another thing, you can do a lot of efficiency. You can gain a lot of efficiency from the distributed caching and how you deal with that, which is like far beyond just extracting more tokens from the one GPU. You can do a lot on the side of mixing different types of workload in one like capacity. Imagine, I always tell the example that like, imagine you have today the product with a very spiky demand. Like, you need a lot of GPUs, you've got a lot of customers, and you need a lot of GPUs for a few hours a day.
Right.
And all the rest of the day, you don't have customers.
Yep.
In the current market, you just literally cannot serve it. Because you either need to reserve
spare compute for your spike.
All the compute for the spike, and then you sit idle and your economics not work, or you just cannot autoscale when the customers are coming and you lose customers.
Right.
So this is just like unsolvable problem in the world of dedicated clusters and so on. So I think that long term we'll see how different types of workloads are mixing together. So when, for example, to serve the spike, you can borrow some compute for less prioritized training job, for example, and then come and like give it back to the training, or we'll see, I don't know, like real-time inferencing living together with batch, like data processing kind of workloads that have a high throughput but low latency requirements. So, and to make it like efficiently on the platform level, you actually need to, you cannot do it in a naive, like, I rent somewhere else infrastructure and build inference stack on that. You need to go like down to the stack to orchestration and make sure that all the stack kind of can support it. Yeah.
Yeah. So moving more to your team, because it seems probably obvious now because look at all the success, but I think at one time some people wrote you guys off as a company. I think that this article that recently came out on Forbes, it says something like, 1 year ago, Nebius was seen as a leftover from the Russian tech spinoff of Yandex, but since then it staged one of the most impressive comebacks in the sector. But tell me,
Could you say it?
there's this recent Forbes article, and I think, Forbes, and I mean the article title talks about your stock price. Could it, go into the 400 range? It's like a question. But what I want to ask you, Roman, is tell us about some of the insights on that journey, some of the low moments, the moments that could inspire other founders. I don't want all the great things because we see those now, but like, how did you guys do that? I mean, I can't imagine that journey from building a really successful company in Yandex to a lot of political stuff happened, and then you build a brand new company, and now you're crushing it. So tell us about some of the things that people maybe don't know about in your journey and your story with your team.
Yeah, I think that there is I would say two components there are crucial. First, it's a founder, Arkady Volozh, who built Yandex. And now he actually the main visionary and the main engine that it's never enough person.
He's pushing this whole company.
It's like never enough person.
Yeah.
Next day after we signed the Microsoft deal, he calls and like, okay, what's the next? And also very resilient. You can imagine all this transition of the company was also like a very personal story for him, because Yandex was his baby. Like you spend like 25 years of building something incredible, and then like overnight you understand that like something changed. So I think Arkady's persona is something that difficult to overprice in our journey. And second, I think this is the luck and partially also the vision that this company is built around the group of very strong engineers. And it's not only like the number of engineers, but it's also the fact that they combine the experience across the full stack. When we started, there were not so many companies out there, if any, who had experience of building data centers from the greenfield, building hardware, building software, and having AI expertise.
And like at the scale that Yandex did.
Yeah,
I think behind Google, Yandex was second in scale for search, right?
We were we were the largest search on a very small market.
Right.
But I think we maybe was like, I'm not sure we were larger than being on a scale, but like comparable.
The point is like it was up there. Yeah. Only a few teams in the world had ever gotten to that level.
That's true. Yandex in general was just a large infrastructure, large scale.
Right.
And Yandex was built with this hyperscaler mentality that we need to understand every piece of the stack that
to do this the right way, to meet our mission. We can't outsource that to anyone because they don't have the answers yet. We have to find the answers.
That's true. So I think that this kind of group of the engineers who saw the scale, who have expertise on all the levels and don't have this fear of
figuring out the hardest problems.
How can we deal with that? Is the second like secret sauce, and people were quite surprised. This is part of the history also that this neo-cloud market started when on a scale started to grow like exponentially when the GPT moment happened.
That's right. That's right.
And we saw it, we understood it, we wanted to be there, but we could not because our corporate transition didn't finish.
Right.
And we were sitting like almost year and a half observing the market and like, let us do it. But we just could not because we didn't finalize the separation with the Russian assets, and we needed to get like access to the capital and actually like start growing. So I think that people were, but all this time we invested in the product. We believed that we'll finalize this kind of pre-story of the company and we'll get out
all the admin
we'll
stuff.
Go to the, we'll go to the market. And we actually like heavily invested in the product and tech during this time. And when we came to the market, a lot of people were surprised that we come with the product. Like nobody heard the name.
I mean, I know I was.
Yeah, nobody.
I mean,
nobody.
that
And then
pretty much came out of nowhere.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
literally.
and we were in Europe, and then we came to US because we understood that most of the market here in the US.
Yeah, and then you go public, and then it's like, haha, just kidding. Now we have a $17 billion deal with Microsoft, and I can't imagine what's coming next.
But
for you
yeah,
guys.
but I think that like it just not so many people understood that we started not from the scratch. We started from the scratch from the kind of awareness perspective and everything, but we didn't start from the scratch with the technology and the team.
No, or
And,
culture, like you said, that spirit of overcoming
and
challenges,
that
not
helped a
outsourcing
lot.
the hardest problems.
Yeah, and that helped a lot. So I cannot say we didn't have bad days
Right.
when we kind of thought, can we deal with that, like, and so on. But the platform and the engineering kind of efficiency was there, and I think this is the second like secret ingredient.
Yeah. Is it fair to ask or say, I don't know which one it is, but if those challenges didn't happen with Yandex, Nebius would have never been born? Like if a war never happened, all these political issues, what would you guys
I
be
think
here?
it's
Would we even be here today?
yeah, I think it's a fair question. Like nobody knows, right? So
Right.
like we don't know how the history would go. I think that back in Yandex time, Arkady and the team had always the ambition to build something beyond the market we operated, the core market we operated. We understood that we have the technical capabilities to be competitive on a global landscape. But I think that you're also right that we were, it's like you're too successful.
Yeah,
in
like why
something.
not do what you were doing? It's a nice life.
And
where
we
you were at.
launched, like Yandex went much beyond just being the search and advertisement business. We were the largest ride-hailing business in the country. We launched self-driving, we launched e-commerce and whatnot. And I think that in the bottom of the heart, I feel that if it wouldn't be happen, we could still be very successful in a very limited geography.
Right. This journey seems a lot of fun to me. So I think, being at the front of the AI innovation space and powering the builders, and what I've learned so much already from this discussion is how obsessive you guys are as a company with the product experience and the user experience. It seems like you're not trying to go in and find all the answers, more just say, let me listen and abstract away what you need from us as a product partner, and we'll build that for you. Instead of trying to be overly visionary, you're really focused on core requirements that they're facing in their unique roles.
I think that it's just the market is so fast and yet not defined in their final kind of shape.
Right.
That, and again, there are different approaches. You can be very opinionated and build the future that you believe in.
Right.
I think what we try to do, we build the foundations that we believe in. Like we build the infrastructure that's robust enough to address different like types of scenarios. A lot of people were asking, why would you focus on the software multi-tenancy if the market is driven by the largest customers that actually don't need it or can live without that? And now we see that with the adoption to enterprises, that's right. So we do the bets,
Right.
like in the general kind of approach, but the specific shape of the product will be defined together with the customers. I think you're right here.
Yeah, I love that. So I want to talk about this area of frenemies, right? So I'll give some examples and bring it back to Nebius. So we have OpenAI now working with Shopify, rolling in Shopify natively into OpenAI. So now when you're searching, you can buy products on Shopify natively from OpenAI. Now you have OpenAI, and this is all in the last week, I think, of news. Like OpenAI has a $100 million plus partnership with Databricks. And so now, to your point about software vendors rolling out AI and figuring out what works, like now they're going in this direction. So those are more like recent examples. But with Nebius, you're partnering with Microsoft, yet Microsoft is also a cloud provider. You could be viewed as competitors or partners. Obviously here you're partners, but how does that work as a founder in this space, guiding this incredible journey? Like, how do you guys deal with that frenemies kind of dynamic? Because I think people like me are always wondering about that.
It's a great question. Like, I think that the examples you gave are in a way easier.
Right.
Because
the first two are pretty easy. Yeah, they're mutually beneficial.
At the end of the day, no doubt that like OpenAI will be one of the dominant players. And then we also, I would say, have no doubts that the number of use cases has such a diversity that the companies, like pragmatic companies like Shopify, for example, they will build something on OpenAI, they will build something in-house, they will build something on open source models.
Yeah.
And our niche is obviously, in respect to Shopify as a customer, is to help them with
achieve their mission.
With the building what they need, like, and buying the way they want. So then what is more interesting that, for example, the Microsoft thing, and I think that how we deal with that is, as I told, we think that this market is like the market of opportunities. You need to take the opportunities that help you to achieve your goals.
Right.
But if you want to build something long-term, you still need to remember what is your core. And in respect to Microsoft deal, we're happy to work with them. We really, really enjoying kind of the journey and the ability to serve such a great customer. But we remember that it's not our final play to be only Microsoft kind of partner.
Right.
We want to build our product. We think that the AI native development market is such a huge opportunity in front of us that there is enough of space for everyone. And it's obvious that Microsoft is will keep and grow their presence there. But
right.
there isn't enough space for us and the companies like us to enter this market and deliver some value that maybe Microsoft will not be focused on, or maybe in some things will be better. And I'm not comparing with Microsoft. I just say that, like in general, the market of cloud providers that consider it to be done deal, like it's even not a red ocean. It's just like done market. Now it's opened again, just because of this extraordinary growth of new use cases that need the new solutions and new developer platforms and the new infrastructures and so on. So I think that going to the principles, it's A, being opportunistic and see where are the fuel for your growth, and B, remember what you want to build like long term,
right.
and don't forget to prioritize it like
right.
on top of like the opportunities that
lie ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because it seems like what I'm hearing you say is partner where it makes sense to grow your business and grow their business. It's mutually beneficial, but at the same time, stay laser focused on your greater mission of building the best product experience.
And we don't know where we will end, you know, like right. Even the final business model can change.
Because at the end of that contract, I haven't read all the details. Is it who owns the infrastructure at the end of it? Is it a 2-3 year obligation?
Yeah,
Nebius
this is
hardware
like 5 years contract.
5 years? Okay.
Yeah, but we own the infrastructure.
So you're taking on all the obligation of owning it, and what do you do after the 5 year committed? And then they're responsible to find customers to put on top of that, or is
no? It's not. Again, this we don't know what Microsoft will do
with that.
With that
for their own efforts.
We assume we assume that at least some part of that will go for their internal needs.
Right, building, right.
I would think about that.
Right.
So it's not like Microsoft and all those hyperscalers are the largest. They are not only or not at all like cloud providers, but they also the largest AI developers.
Yeah.
They are the largest enterprise customers of this world.
That's right.
Together with OpenAI.
And they have so much they want to do at Microsoft with
You can
AI.
imagine how much work they do internally.
Yeah, exactly. And I think now that OpenAI, there's been different discussions there about the partnership with OpenAI and Microsoft. Now they're trying out some other alternatives more frequently. And I think building it yourself, if you can, is always a great approach. So they're probably going to push
They have the great products like Copilot and so on. Like they are all these customers. They are just the largest enterprise customers of this market. So we serve them. We just need to remember, and we don't think about them as a competitor in this partnership. Partnership, we look at them as the largest enterprise customers of this market, with, for some extent, limited requirements to our platform. So they don't need our software platform, most of the parts, just because they have their internal one.
They're going to go apply what they've already figured out across their whole.
Yeah, but even though it's great opportunity. And
yeah, because if I'm sitting in your shoes, I learn scale, I learn financial engineering, I learn how to serve that scale, and then I can go to the next AI native cursor and do the same scale, but with my software I've been building.
Yep.
And I can handle everything.
Yeah, that's exactly.
From a strategy.
You don't say no when someone suggests you to pay you almost 20 billion to train you work on the scale. So like you don't say no, right?
So one thing that we're hearing, and I have my quarterly shareholders letter going out, Q3 is wrapping up. So I have a view on this question, but if you look at like in 2000 to 2002, when there was the dot-com bubble, the fundamentals actually weren't aligned for Cisco specifically. You can see the stock price literally goes up and then crashes, but the revenue really wasn't, the fundamentals didn't match what was actually happening with the stock price. Now, when you look at Nvidia stock price versus revenue, Nebius revenue and stock price, the fundamentals are actually there. But then you do hear a lot of critics out there saying, hey, we're overbuilding, we're over retrofitting. I think Meta, has been spending all this money on infrastructure and engineers and Alex Wang from Scale. But then at the end of the day, there was a lot of sort of, I don't know what the word is on Twitter, but a lot of people criticizing around, hey, all you guys are really doing is creating more AI clickbait. Like, do we really need more social media engagement at this point? Like, can't we chase something bigger? And so my question to you is, how do you, it's not necessarily like something you probably overly think about, but do you have a view on, are we overbuilding infrastructure here? Or is it really truly early days and we're probably still underbuilding at this point?
It's a great question. And if may, I will not go in like particular use cases like
you don't have to
social networks and so on. I'm not the expert. I think that first, we still just didn't get used to what is the scale. So when we hear all this,
300 billion, 100 billion, Trump saying 500, you're in for 9 billion. He's at the White House dinner.
So like when we hear all these numbers, like 5 gigawatt here, 5 gigawatt there, we just never saw it.
Right.
Then is it justified? I think if you believe that this AI thing is the most transformative technologies
revolution ever
that we ever saw.
Web, mobile, internet, electricity. If it's bigger than all of those.
That we saw at least in the last like decades.
Sure.
And if we believe that it will transform more or less every kind of vertical in industry, and if we believe that every human being will use like this access to general intelligence as a
daily part of their life.
daily part of
All
their
facets
life.
of their life.
Like we pay for mobile, we pay for electricity, we pay for Netflix.
Right.
Why wouldn't you pay for getting access to something that for such extent like gives you so much more ability?
Yeah, exactly. Or even if you don't seek it out, it's coming to you. You wake up and you have an Oura Ring or Apple Watch, all driven by LLMs, the insights. Then you check your bank account. So many of the services provided there are driven by LLMs. You call your medical doctor and you get some questions driven by it's. So
many, and we just, again, like I truly believe that we are in a very early days. Like I think that foundational technologies are already there, but from the product perspective and as a result from the adoption perspective, we are still very early.
I agree. And my view on that is development has gotten a lot easier with vibe coding. So you can develop a lot more, but deployment is still very hard and scaling is still very hard. And I think Nebius is making that a lot easier to deploy and to scale. But a lot of companies are just developing a lot, but they're not necessarily able to go get that into customers' hands and scale it.
Yeah, but even if we speak about development, there is software development, which probably moves faster than any other vertical. Even there, I think we still on the very early days. Why?
What's possible?
Because we're still focusing on helping the kind of professional developers to do their work better, or to the companies to make like it's on a better scale and so on. But I think the products with the vision like Lovable, for example, that say, okay, I will not go after professional developers. I will go after every normal human.
Like me.
Like me. And me as well.
All right.
And now, as well as in a similar way, when you've got, I don't know, the photo camera in your iPhone.
Now everyone's a photographer.
You are the photographer.
Yeah.
Everyone will be the developer and will be able to convert their creativity into code and some digital asset. This is just absolutely unkept
potential
kind of part of this world, when we even don't know what people will do with that. We quite know what the developers are doing, but we don't know what the rest of the universe, when they will get the access to, ability to iterate and develop something for their own without need to go and talk with professional engineer, and like how much creativity it will unlock, how much new applications, products we'll see, how many new businesses will be created, and so on and so forth. So I think this is just a small illustration of how transformative this kind of AI thing can be if you package it in a product. And there are like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of the products that we even didn't see yet that will explain to the people what this technology can give them.
Right.
And I think that, again, the foundational technologies are already there. They will improve and improve. I don't know, like, will we create AGI? Do we need the AGI as a humanity? But I think that even on the level of foundational technologies we have today, we can create so many great products that will unlock so many value and scenarios for businesses and for individuals. It's just like, it's blowing my mind. And when I think about it, I think like maybe we are underinvesting in the infrastructure, because like all those people will come and they will consume, right? I don't know. Like, I think that this kind of concerns make a lot of sense. We should be for the best for the best of the industry, we should be very pragmatical. Like we shouldn't be emotional in these
Right.
like investments and so on. We should invest like and make sure that we get enough out of those investments. I don't think that so far we did it wrong. In general, right. I'm not talking about Nebius, but I think that fundamentally the fact that people are scared with the numbers, and it's like people are scared with the numbers. It's just like we never saw it.
No.
It's just because we still very early.
Right.
We just didn't get used to all the potential. Like, you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I run Banyan and I'm a pre-seed investor. More and more these days I'm leading the pre-seed round and being the first investor, helping that founder fill out the round and then, go scale up the technology and the team. And I think in the last 60 days, I've made 3 or 4 new investments. And so I won't say any of the names, but like the latest ones, one is in Europe and they're doing AI roll-ups for HVAC based in Paris. And so all that back office work for commercial HVAC can be automated and you can, say for every 10 jobs, you need one back office person. Now you can do 50 jobs for one back office person because their day-to-day work can be automated. And then on the front side, the technician can go and use the capabilities of GPT and actually do a lot better at being a technician, but that all has to get developed, right? And so that was one of the areas we're deploying in. Another is like an asset management. Think about Blackstone and really large asset managers who run commercial real estate, that per person that's in that asset management team, maybe they manage 200-300 million assets, but those workflows, if something breaks in a building, everything in that forecast has to be redone, and that can all be automated with AI. And so just in those 2 examples, there's so much that has to be done. Like I'm talking to this asset manager founder and he's working with the largest commercial real estate. They're like three people and they've closed contracts with the largest commercial asset managers in the country, 9 customers in like 2 months. And he's like, Sam, we're only serving 2 out of the 10 core use cases for the asset manager. And we're already getting pulled into property management and we already have the data. We just need to hire.
Yeah.
We need Nebius to help us get our like cloud like going. And it's just mind blowing because like there's so much that's in front of us that I think will end up matching back to the demand, but you have to have that belief and question it along the way.
Yeah. No, that's all true. I think that everyone who goes deeper in the enterprises or deeper in the use cases, even if it's like whatever, entertainment, gaming, whatever.
Any of those fields.
We just touched such a first,
And there's real appetite. Like these companies will pay for this. If you show them and it works and it's safe, it won't harm their business, and you have guardrails, when the AI can do something versus it can't, and you gain that trust. I mean, there's real, these categories don't require like market education. They're ready to pay. And that manager and that team, they want to be the first one. And I haven't seen that in past like technical new categories, right?
Isn't it insane? It's just like less than 3 years from GPT-3 was released still.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely wild. So with your company, I last I checked, I saw like over 120 open roles. You've now scaled a company well past $1 billion in revenue. How do you keep that talent bar high? Talking about culture building and like, on the leadership level, how are you guys thinking about that? How do you keep that culture where it's at on this next phase of hyperscale for the Nebius journey?
It's a great question, and I think we think a lot about how we scale. Our company is not classical case, as we discussed, right? We were not like the group of the people sitting in one room and then like growing. There are a few things that we focus on to keep the super high bar of engineering talent. We are in the market where engineers create the value.
Like unequivocally, that is where
requirements are not
Yep.
defined.
Right.
We are still early. There are a lot of things that not optimal. And if you have the people who go to the roots, who have this curiosity to make things work, who can shift to the new challenges, right? When now we have this infrastructure, let's build fast. What should we do with the inference? And so, I think that having this engineering excellence is one thing that we focus on.
Sure.
And it's not a secret that we started from primarily a group of the people from Yandex sitting in Europe. Now we're scaling across different regions. We want to get access to the talent pools in other places. And this is one thing. Another thing that, again, organically and historically, we started from Europe. We pretty much soon realized that the core demand comes from US, and we focus a lot to build our presence here. Mostly we started from customer facing, and it's not only sales, but it's also solution architects, customer success managers, support, because cloud is very much about customer success,
trust and relationships.
It's a post-sales business.
Right.
When you sell the promise. Then in reality, the most of the thing happening after the contract signed.
Right.
So you need to make customers happy, and you need to have account executives that do their work right, that able to work with the smartest founders and the tech-savvy people who are our persona, and you need to have the excellent customer success and all the functions on a post-sale. I think that this is the second thing that we're focusing on. We've got the new CEO joining us beginning of June with a great experience of building this hyper growth motion in his past. He, for example, he was in Twilio when they scaled from developer adoption to enterprise adoption, and I think he went with them from 300 million to 4 billion kind of in revenue in few years. So it was this extraordinary rate of growth for SaaS company. Talking about the leadership, I think that it's not easy to define the hard parameters, how you actually find the people. But I think that we're still on the stage of appreciation, people ready to go do the work. We are not the corporate in the DNA. We need to become a corporate. We need to scale processes. We need to make sure that thousands of people are working together efficiently. But the market is so fast. We speak with the smartest people in the world. The product is changing. Everything can change overnight. So you need to make sure that your leadership is very close to reality, that you are not becoming this, sitting in the rooms with the dashboards without real visibility to what's going on in the fields. I think we really appreciate the people who not afraid to, make their hands dirty, go to the real stuff and go down to the roots. In any area, would it be customers? Would it be engineering? Would it be financial engineering? If you do just only conventional stuff like you probably will not succeed. You need to have this sharpness. You need to have ability to see the point very deep to make right decisions. And it's worth to say that like a lot of decisions we make like they worth billions.
Yeah, like literally. Yeah, I mean it sounds like it's for you right now. It's a combination in the leadership team of get the right leaders, like your new CRO from Twilio. Leadership's big, and then don't lose the culture and identifying and hiring the culture that already got you where you're at, which is nimbleness, responding to adversity. Don't hire people who roll up their sleeves and will solve hard problems, because this market is undefined and it is about adaptation and solving things. Don't outsource them. So it's just keeping that culture intact. And then it sounds like a lot of US presence, and then also a lot of post-sell, all those different roles that you need to deliver the promises made.
Yeah.
And maintain and build that trust, compound that. Because, this initial contract with Microsoft, that's just a get to know you contract in this market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you do really great delivering, who's to say there couldn't be 100, 300, 400 billion contract next? And that's how this market works. So you guys are keeping your eye on that.
Yeah, that's true. And the talent defines, like it's in every
it's never ideas
business.
are worthless. Ideas are worthless. People are what make ideas matter in the execution. So much of startups,
you need to move fast. You need to iterate. You need to have people who humble enough to listen,
change their mind, and to take a good vision. Also, even if disagree and commit, be willing to work towards
that's
solution.
True. That's true. I also think that it's important to build the culture, like the company, that potentially be attractive to join to.
How do you do that? Like, I'd always say it was like autonomy. You get to work on the hardest problems, solve the hardest things, and have autonomy along the way. But like, how do you attract that 10x engineer, 100x engineer when he has 5 or 6 other offers? You have these crazy offers also out here in the market. So how do you guys keep competing and winning?
I think today, one of the companies that have the privilege of 2 things. One, we already deal with the things on the scale and the very ambitious engineering tasks,
right,
as we discussed, but we are still not 20,000 people,
big corporate
thing. So I think our ideal persona is the engineers who want to have impact and solve one of the most difficult, most complex engineering tasks in the world. So then we can give them both. Of course, there are a lot of routes for those people. They can join the large labs or hyperscalers. They can they can launch their own. But I think that if you think about the place that will give you access to the really complex tasks, but still not being kind of overstaffed, and you will still have a lot of impact. This is
one of the few places.
We are one of the places to go.
I agree. I want to shift gears, and I could talk about talent and scaling all day, but I really do want to get your views on this. So up until GPT was released, I think Nvidia enjoyed a really good situation, and when GPT came out, it was the first time where, wow, there is actually more demand than they can fulfill with GPUs. Along the way, the last 20 years, they've done such an amazing job of making the GPUs usable, but they're also general purpose, right? They work for fine tuning, for training, for inference. They're the general purpose leader in GPU compute. But now what we're seeing, and this is where I want to ask you, there's a new wave of infrastructure for inference specifically coming out and being scaled up, like Grok, Positron, TensorDyn, SpinCloud. I'm an investor in those 3, and there's a lot more. There's photonic compute for inference. So there's a lot of new age, even just in inference, kind of providers coming out, and some of those names, even in my portfolio, are growing extraordinarily quickly with customer
Yeah.
traction. So when will we see a Nebius partnering like with a positron and running inference specific chips? Or have you guys thought about that? Or how do you guys gauge this new next generation infrastructure, physical infrastructure stack being built out? Because networking's changing, right? RF chips are changing. The whole stack, in my view, is shifting. I don't know if it's made it to the Nebius level yet. It's pretty close. You could argue Grok is kind of almost there, you know, but what's your guys' views on that as a company and just as a founder?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that first, there is a lot of opportunities to create a more specialized solution that will overperform generalized
Right.
one on
For
some
specific use
for the
cases.
specific use case.
Right.
I think that our view on that we follow demand.
Yeah. Like with everything else we've talked about, if it starts getting requested by a big customer, you'll do it and you'll do it very well and abstract away the pain
Yeah,
points.
so we are following demand. We are too small to define the demand, so we
Yeah.
follow our customers. This is like the first principle.
Love it. Yep.
Then the second, I think the cloud business is quite different from, let's say, enterprise deployments, because our priority is the operational efficiency. So you can think about it like, imagine, let's take an extreme example. Let's imagine we have hundreds of vendors. Each of them is very much specialized for some workloads, and we can optimize like for every specific customer what like hardware to be used. In our business, we cannot do it.
No. Yeah.
Because the operational overhead to generalize these operations and so on will end up on just being kind of system integrator when we deploy for customers some like bespoke solutions.
Right.
So it's not just our like breadth to do tiny specialization on each like use case. So you can think about us as someone who optimized like all the fleet in average. So for example, for me, it may be more efficient to not have the most optimal solution on 5% of my workloads if I have 95 covered, and on these 5 I may do less whatever margin, or even don't get some customer who wants like some specific thing, but not overwhelm my kind of operations with the too much customization.
Right.
So from those principles, our view on all the alternative hardware providers is we need them to prove they scaled enough. We need them to prove that customers, there are enough of like use case justification for them.
Right.
And then us as a cloud, and not necessarily Nebius, in general, any cloud.
Yeah, this is the market dynamic we're talking about.
will be the relevant kind of counterparty for them.
Right.
Until then, I think that like we see a lot of traction from those specialized hardware providers with some like more bespoke
That's
enterprise
exactly right.
deployments.
Yep.
Or like Grok example, when they actually provide the first party kind of cloud offering.
Come develop
themselves.
full stack on our
Themselves.
Exactly.
When they kind of, it's more like TPU play, right? When you are fully integrated, like full TPU play, when you are fully integrated, you develop like the hardware, you operate, and you actually provide the end service.
Right.
So I think that for us, the main signal that we actually still waiting to see if there will be enough of pressure from our customers that there are scale
effective tipping point where scale is inherently built in. Yeah. I mean, some of the examples I'm seeing in my portfolio there's a lot more that I can't talk about, but that I can. So Akash Systems is using diamond cooling to cool the server down around 1.5x more than what liquid cooling is able to do. They closed $60 million in revenue with the largest data center. One of the contracts is with the largest data center in India, and there's a lot more news that will be coming out. So that's for diamond cooling, and they have a close collaboration with AMD and Nvidia, Supermicro, Dell to do that diamond cooling integration. So that's on the cooling front. Positron has a joint customer that I can talk about, Cloudflare, and for their Series A announcement, Cloudflare was in the Wall Street Journal article. So I think we'll see a lot more coming out with like Positron and their collaborations. Spin Cloud had the largest drug discovery neuromorphic computing deployment announced with Drexel University. So I think the market's still warming up. I still think it's viewed as niche compared to the hyperscale, but I do think there's going to be this tipping point in my view.
No, that's absolutely true. I wanted to say also that we are in a very close contact with most of the names you even mentioned.
Good.
On a chip side.
If not, I'll connect you.
We do it for the reason we want to
monitor
want to keep eyes on. We want to
like what you did while you were waiting for your corporation to be.
We want to make sure that everything that like happening in the industry we know, and we prepared, and then we'll see when it is the right like business decision
to make a bet.
Right. Comes in life. That's fascinating how all the market will evolve. I think it's also important that in a hardware business, the supply chain management, the scaling of production, and keeping the high quality when you go beyond like first racks that you produce in your lab is a thing that determines. So I think that's another aspect that we also like.
You were talking about the difference between a 50 or 100, $200 million deal versus 14 billion. I mean,
if you think about like partner with someone who really matters to you, you want to make sure that on
it's durable. For example, Positron's not even 3 years old, but the lifespan, if you were to partner and buy that hardware, you want it to last 7 years. You don't even have 7 years of data on the company. So I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, we had the same questions, like why would we even work with you if you're not sure that you exist in 5 years from now?
Right. I mean, I'm bullish. I think they're going to be wild, and they are already creating wild success. But I can empathize with that point on if I'm in the Nebius shoes, like, hey, can this last 7 years? Can it really have full utilization or very high utilization and not break down? Can the SLAs be met that we sign up for? Because there's all these insurance and indemnification issues. If we go down, like, it's on us, even if it's your problem. So there's a lot of maturity that I think still has to happen in this space, but it's getting closer each day.
Although I think that your example on like cooling technologies is a little bit in the other pocket, because it's not, let's say, customer facing kind of technology.
Right. No.
And I think we benefit a lot from having engineers, like having expertise in hardware inside. So we can actually kind of onboard such new technologies if it makes sense, like on the early stage, and don't wait when it will be commoditized by people like Dell and Supermicro, because we are kind of in the same level of the supply chain as well.
Sure.
So we work a lot with different players who actually can help to make the hardware settings more efficient, and it's not customer facing. It's not impacts like on the architecture of operations and so on.
Yeah. I mean, at Kosh, what they're doing is, it's over 50 provisional, non-provisional patents, and there's a lot of exciting news coming up for Akash around engagements that they're working on. So
cool.
If you were an investor, I'd love to ask you this question. Like, if you were an investor running a fund, or just maybe say one day you went into that, and say it was now though, where would you be looking to deploy capital? And say you could go in any nook and cranny. Your investors are like, here's $100 million, Roman, go lead pre-seed rounds. Like, where would you like to spend time and deploy?
You guys have a very tough work, I must admit. I don't have a clear answer.
No. But what are you saying? Like, I know you see a lot of research labs that become the foundational technologies of tomorrow. Like, what's most promising to you?
I think if today, and it probably changes, I think if today I would bet on if I would have chance to like recognize, I would bet on the vertical AI players that have chance to succeed on some like great use cases, just because I think that this is the time when, again, the foundational models capabilities out there, the demand, as you mentioned, also like people ready, like show me results, I will pay.
Like, please.
People are ready.
Yeah.
And then like if there is someone out there who knows like how to apply
it all together.
In a concrete like vertical,
in a safe way, right?
Yeah, I would do it. It was not like that, for example, I don't know, year ago.
No.
Year ago, I thought at the time still to invest like more horizontal kind of infrastructure players or dev tools or like someone who actually enables this like vertical builders. I think now I would say that vertical AI is the thing. I also think that it's like it's not genius thought that I think that a lot of things happening in very special modalities like physical AI, robotics, like everybody talk about it, starting from Jensen. When I talk with the people from this industry, like nothing works. So there are still like everything to be built. So nothing yet works, but I think everybody believes there is a huge opportunity. I also curious how the world of non-naive production grade inference will look like. How the developer will deal with all the complex infrastructure. When think about it, like you develop the mobile application and then you can run something on device, you can run something on the edge, on like Cloudflare type of the offering, kind of cloud edge offering, and something you need to run like on a backbone cloud like us. How you kind of design your system to make it efficient, to meet all your requirements on the unit economics, the latency and so on. I think it's quite fascinating how the developer kind of, again, coming back to my kind of developer experience looks like now on application layer, when you need to develop this kind of less naive architecture. I think there is a lot of work to be done yet. That are the areas I'm like curious.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think on the vertical AI side, a lot of what's happening is these highly specialized, specific vendors and founders are going in and making the AI's promise actually come to fruition, and they're doing it in a safe way, and they're doing it where humans can have checkpoints along the way, and then they're doing a lot of feedback or reinforcement learning where they take, hey, this worked, this didn't work, so the outputs just keep improving. And then they start to build a first-party data moat, because they say, well, we own this use case, this one, let's go to the next 8. And then they go to the next department. And so what I think we'll see is operating systems that are AI native. And then we'll see consolidation if not everyone's going to make it in each category. So, but shifting gears to like your vision, your legacy in Nebius as well, like in 20 years from now, when we look back, what do you hope Nebius is like remembered for? Like, what are the things you really are driving you and the team? I don't know if you ever think about that, but
I'm not sure that 20 years even close to now. No, I think that we obviously don't know, like, on this time span. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to think about it for us at this stage where we are. But I think that the real opportunity out there is to build AI native cloud, whatever it takes. I think that, as I said, there was the common understanding, shared understanding that the cloud business is done. There is no opportunities on the scale. And now with the AI workloads, everything is so much reshaped. Look at Oracle. How many years they knocked at the door of cloud business and everybody was laughing at them. Like, what you guys doing there?
And now they're at the red hot center of the GPU build out. They're such a key partner to the entire ecosystem, doing an amazing job. Like,
so
back orders.
And it happened like in overnight.
Right.
Like in 2 years, they just completely changed the perception on. And I think that I don't compare the things. Sure. I just say that this entire world of enabling of development is such a new opportunity. The software development is changing with this AI, A, workloads, and B, tools for developers.
Sure.
And like all the transformation of software development itself requires such a new kind of solutions all the way from infrastructure to the platform, that the market that's supposed to be kind of closed opened. And I think that in whatever years from now, if you look back and we see that Nebius played the role to define this kind of new way to develop AI-centric economy by enabling the developers, that would be great.
Sure.
That would be great. And the shape of the product, the focus of the product can change, obviously.
Right.
But I think that we call us developer for developer company, developers for developers company. We want to be enablers. We want to work with those smartest brains who actually do the real changes in the businesses and in the products, and help them in the best way. If someone will say, yeah, the Nebius helped to build the great stuff, well, here we are.
Yeah, I love it. I guess wrapping up, do you hold any views that you feel would be contrary to like popular belief on the AI market or the future of AI, or even where we're at now, like any contrarian views or things you feel would be surprising to most people that you deeply believe?
Again, I think that it's not like common view that I'm controversial to. I just think that in general we are not yet really understanding the scale.
Like we talked about.
Yeah,
right?
like we talked about. I think this is the main.
You're like seeing how big this is going to be, and it's hard to put into words.
Even being inside, I cannot kind of internalize it like
Right.
fully.
Right.
Even close to fully internalize it, because it just changes like so fast. And sitting here talking, we'll build the next like whatever will be the part of next generation of developer experience for building AI. It's still simple words, but it means so much. I mean, it's such a big shift that I truly believe that we even telling it, we didn't fully understand it, like, from the bottom of the soul. What does it really mean? How much it will change like our daily whatever lives and operations and the business and so on. So I think that this is just the main exciting and sometimes scaring part of the journey, how fast and how scaled.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the work Nebius is doing is of the utmost importance, and that's what will help deliver the promise of AI, is taking all these really hard things that have to be solved across the stack and actually equipping those developers to do what they want to do, which is build, deploy, scale the AI versus figure out all the infrastructure. I think that's like really great work that you guys are doing, and I'm so glad.
We are in
we
the
got to
very,
sit down
very
today.
first days yet.
Yeah,
It's just so many things ahead of us to do.
yeah, well, I can't wait to watch the journey, and hopefully keep in touch and help you
Yeah.
guys out where I can.
Thank you. Thank you.